Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gents. I hope everyone is well. It is the 21st of April 2023. If anybody doesn't know or there's anybody new in, I'm trading the S&P 500. And this is strictly, well, it's a time frame, but it's actually the 2000 tick chart. It just means each individual bar represents 2000 trades, as opposed to a 5-minute or 10-minute time frame, something like that. So hope everyone's okay. Hope everyone's had a good week. Last day today, last day of the week. So who have we got in here? Indy, how you doing, buddy? Grandpa Roger, how you doing? DJ, how you doing, buddy? So as you'll notice, I took a trade earlier. I've just been sat up here just watching the charts. Actually, I saw two pushes down. We had one push down, a couple of legs up, another push down. Saw it break the bottom, it pushed up. We had a first entry, we had a second entry failure. There was also a second entry short there. There may have been a few. If you notice that one, we had this push down, we had a sort of a break, and we had a bearish bar there. So there may have been a couple of shorts trapped there, which sort of triggered, pushed up. So we had a second entry short, which triggered. So there may have been some shorts in there. So I just put my order. I just held on there, waited for it to break high, dropped it in and took it off and took 5.5 points up around about here. I was trying to ride it up to the top, and I sort of wish I had done it in a way, but after yesterday, I took it right on there. After yesterday, there'd have been 10 points about that. After yesterday, I just, I saw it go, and we had a bit of a, when I saw this, I dropped it straight under there, and I just took it off, and when it had a bit of a push, I jumped in, lost confidence, but the plan was to get it up to there, because obviously at the moment we had two perfect measured legs down. We had a push down, a couple of legs up, another push down. So I expected one leg, two leg, which is why I dropped it under here, but then it kept going. So I just followed up, and I think when this one pushed up, I just jumped in after this doji. So yeah, so we're 550 up. So that's a nice start to the day. So if we don't get another trade all day, brilliant ending to the week. So I did take another trade yesterday. Now, I know as a general rule, I try not to do that, but I don't do it on PA accounts. But I don't get stressed anymore. They just don't seem to bother me, evaluations at the moment. I think because I'm sort of that used to doing them. And at some point, I suppose any sort of anxiety or stress you get when you're trading, it'll eventually wear away. And it has done with the evaluations. I remember sitting through trades on an evaluation feeling like my neck was in a vice, grinding me teeth and all sorts, but it doesn't bother me now. So I looked at a trade yesterday and I took, what did I take? I think I took 4.5 points. 4.25 points I think I took, which got me, I don't know, I was about 50, 60 quid in dollars in credit over the 3 accounts. So I managed to get out of that yesterday, but that trade yesterday, just lack of experience. I think I didn't think about maybe the 2-tiered channel, but what I'm doing in future is letting it push. When we have a little bit of a pullback, I'm just going to drop it under the swing and then under the swing. And if I'd have done that there instead of panicking about yesterday, I'd have put it under that swing, then that swing, then that swing, and then when it broke out the top, I might have just dropped it in there. So it does work. Just if I took that, I put it at that swing, then obviously when we came down here, I'd maybe drop it there or whatever. But it does work. So okay, hey Speedy, how you doing, buddy? Nice, thank you, Indy. Jay, I noticed Marco and Thomas Way took it on the chart review. So good which this one? Oh, yesterday you mean? That second entry short. Yeah, the second entry short was a good trade, I think. And it was sort of 2 legs. I just played it as a runner wrong, that's all. I kind of like this. We've had a breakout from the bottom and a breakout from the top. Trouble is, I'm not sure what's going on at the moment. And we've got news coming up, so I'm not going to take anything just yet anyway. We've got this news coming up in about 10 minutes, but so yeah, me and that trade, yeah, the second entry short, I know the one you mean. Yeah, I guess they might have done. In fact, yeah, I noticed it on Marco's trade actually. On Marco's chart, I had a quick browse on Facebook, I just played it wrong. I should have just followed. If I'd have followed up the swings, I'd have got a few $100. But you live and learn, don't you? But it's just, you know, it's a learning process, extending this profit. But it works really well for the gorilla guy, and that's what I want to do. So I've got to do less trades and hold them a bit longer, because the way the markets are at the moment, there's not a hell of a lot of setups, and there's the problem. You know, I was looking at my chart a year and a half ago, and there were 6 or 8 good setups in a day, and it was so easy to get a couple of really good setups. But lately, it's hard to find them, and when you do see them, it's like sort of disbelief. So, Hamid there, congratulations. So, thank you. It's almost like a full week of trading with Max 4 ticks and 1 to 2 trades. Yeah, it does make a difference. You'll earn more money. Now, I think Mac does his, I mentioned this yesterday, I think Mac does his 1 point as just a bit of basic money. So he's got something, but he makes most of his trades on his runners. The trouble is, as he said before, on 2 legs back that is, that could go either way there. It could be I did look at that. Trouble is, I would ride that just back to the EMA, and there's probably a point there, because I'm not sure what's going to go on, and I am aware there's some news. There's some high impact new flash services PMI news in about 10 minutes. So we are ranging at the moment, and it was a breakout. I did look at that, but I try and play the safe game now and take the lower high, and it would have worked. I'd have got a few points out at the moment. The ATR's up a bit, so yeah. So good afternoon, Lance. Nice to get a good trade. Absolutely, yeah. Thank you, Angela. Does make a difference. It takes the pressure off the day, then, doesn't it? But I like that. It was a second entry short. There may have been some shorts there, but I'm pretty sure there would have been some there. Thinking break new low, but I held it, waited for it to break above all 3 of these, and then just dropped it in there and took it. Our plan was to ride it to the top, but after yesterday, I lost my bottle a bit and jumped out here, but I'm happy with that. So what was I doing? Okay. Yeah, so let's have a look. Yeah, I nearly took that one, but my concern is, what did it go down? Not a huge amount. My concern is this news, really. I missed SW Blaze. Good morning from Chicago. Happy Friday to you, my friend. Hello. Yeah, hello traders. Roll Daddy. Hello, Angie. You're getting payouts then. I have done. Not at the moment. I'm back on 3 evaluations at the moment. I ended up messing my account up. Got a bit too overconfident and made a mess up. So it happens. It's the first time I'd had a payment. And, you know, when you go from a demo onto evaluations, it's quite scary, quite nerve-wracking, and you blow a lot. Now, I'm at the level now where the evaluations don't bother me. They don't make me nervous. And I can pass them, no problem. But I find the PAs make me a bit nervous. So when you get used to your next level, your first level is your demos, then your next level is your evaluations, and then the next level is your PA accounts or your live accounts where real money's involved. And it's just getting used to being in those different categories. They all have their different sort of different effects on you, you know, the psychological effects on you in a sense. So future payouts. Yeah, that's the plan. I'm doing it different this time now. I've always gone for 2 contracts. The trouble is, on a $50,000 account, you've got a drawdown of $2,500. So you lose 6 trades, you basically got nothing left. So if you have a bad day and lose 2, you've lost a third of your account. Now, depending on what type of self-motivated guy you are, you may not recover from that. So by reducing it to 1 contract, I will allow myself 12 to 13 trades without a loss, without blowing an account. So that's doable, that is. So the plan is to have 3 accounts. So 1 account, I will trade. I I'll tell you what, let's say one account, I'll trade 2 contracts, and the other 2 accounts, I'll trade 1 contract. So yeah, 2 contracts, 1 contract, 1 contract. And on day 1, I'll trade that one, and on day 2, I'll trade that one and that one. So these every other day. Now, if I trade this on day 1 and I lose a trade, I'll move over to this one and this one. And if I lose a trade again, I'll finish. So the most I can lose on those 2 is 1 trade and 1 contract, which is around about $150. That's the most I can lose on those in a day. So with the lower losses than I'm used to, I should find it a lot easier to deal with. I'm used to losses of around the $300. So 2 losses, $600, quite a chunk in a day, but 2 losses on a single account, you're talking less than $300. So just that psychological difference will play a part. And the fact that I've got 3 PA accounts instead of 1, I haven't got all my eggs in one basket. Because everything I've read lately is people try and grow too quick, too big, and that's always been me. I think I get a bit greedy, and I try and run before I can walk. So all I'm doing really is just reining it back a little bit and slowing down a touch. But even trading on 1 account, on 2, one contract on 2 separate accounts, you're still in the same money as 1 really. So just slowing down a little bit. That's all I'd say. So hey Sam, how you doing, buddy? So yeah, if anybody didn't notice, I actually took another trade later, about shortly after, actually, a long trade, and I took I think it was 4.25 points. So I ended up it might have been 4 points. I ended up something like about $50, just minus fees, up for the day. Obviously over 3 accounts, so I managed to get it back anyway. And I know I have the general rule of not trading after, and the reason I do that is because of the emotional factor, but I don't get the emotions anymore on the evaluations. They don't really bother me anymore, the evaluations. And obviously I'm getting used to them, so they don't have that same impact. I can go away $600 down, whereas if I did that on a PA account, I'd be panicking. I'd want to come down and do it again. Let's have a look. There's a failure there, but it's quite congested there. 1 leg, 2 legs. Have a look. Now I'm up. See, I don't want to do any stupid moves. I'd expect that to come down to there. It is a failure, actually. Let me think. We're in a range at the moment, so I'd expect that to come out. Let's have a look.
Order submitted.
Let's sell that.
Order submitted.
Let's just take it down to about here, I think. It is a little congested, but we have pushed up twice. So I think we're okay. Unless we're pushing out, coming back in and planning on moving higher. It's a possibility. It is a little congested, actually, so we'll see. The trouble is they know where your stops are. Yeah, I think I should have left this one congested. See if I get away with it. I may get away with it. We'll see. If it ends up bearish, I think I'm all right. Okay, let me think. I'm just thinking if there are any bulls in this. Yeah, it's going to take me out. Oh well, you live and learn. It's slowly moving up, I think. Yeah, Yeah, I'm out of this. It's a failure. See if it triggers. If we get down here, I'm going to come out of it. Might get lucky.
Order
I'm going
filled.
to get out of that. Okay, so I took $100 hit on that. It may come down, but to me, it's looking like it's going to break above those. I think that's the safest option. What was the risk? Sorry. 2, 3, 4. So it's a 2.25. I took 100 hit on that. Okay, I can live with that. Yeah, just think about the news. See if it does come down. Sometimes it's just worth taking a hit on it. I had a bad feeling about it, and it is. Yeah, I should have known better. Actually, I forgot about the news there. I'm glad I got out when I did. Okay, $100 it. I can live with that. Just looked at the failure. Looked nice. I think it may make it down. Who knows? Can't wait for it. Yeah, I think you're right, mate. Why didn't I think of the news again? I've just mentioned the news. Oh well, that's why it's going sideways. Okay, I got out with $100 hit. I can live with that. It would have taken me out, I think, wouldn't it? Not quite yet. Oh yeah, the 90% got extended. Got about that. I was surprised actually. I thought they might go back to the normal 50% for a week and then reintroduce that. But yeah, the 90%'s extended. So no need to pay. It's extended to the first, I think, 31st or first. No, the first of May. So we got another 10 days. Happy days. Yeah, I'm surprised they did that actually. I thought they might, if anything, go back to the 80%, but they're obviously selling a lot more. It's going to take me out. Yeah, so I got out of that the right time actually. So okay. Silly boy. It was a failed second entry long. Minus point. Okay. I'm not thinking about what I'm doing. Concentrate. News. Okay, any minute. Okay, hands away. To be honest with you, I shouldn't have taken that anyway. It's a bit congested. I just thought going from top to bottoms, we've had a failed breakout. I thought we've come down, we've retested the tops. I thought we're coming down. Definitely for I think if it wasn't the news, I think it may well have done. So it makes sense, doesn't it? Top to bottom. We had a breakout here, compensation. It compensated for it here. Short trend channel break, spike and channel break, new high, lower high. Came back down, retested the top of this range twice. One leg down, a couple of pullbacks, another leg down. I thought we were for sure going to get this. I think it may well have done if it wasn't for the news, but obviously we've got the news, which slipped my mind for a second because we're going sideways, and that's often what happens. But that's a bit careless on my behalf there. Luckily, I noticed that it was going sideways and decided to jump out for a point loss, which was the sensible option. Otherwise, I'd have lost 2.25 points. So, in fact, what I used to do was to do this to remind me. Yeah, I used to do that to remind me. It just slipped my mind. Sometimes you're that in the zone, aren't you, watching the trades? And I saw this break. I saw this break, pushed down, retested the top of the range twice, pulled down, try to go once, try to go twice, failed. Even with a little bit of congestion, I thought we are going to come down, but oh well, you live and learn. You flipped it long, did you? I tend to not do that with the news. I did it by accident once, and it wiped out my valuation for $6,000 or something crazy like that. It shot up massively. I did it. In fact, I've done it twice. It took my stop out instead of for 2 points. I think it was 5.5 points in the end. That was about a year or so ago, I think. But I don't trade with the news now. It just slipped my mind. Well, not massively. Just up, down, up, down, up, down. Not a lot. ATR's a bit higher. It was quite low yesterday. Trouble is, when you think it goes from here to here, you think, well, this is a 15, 20 point move. That's the trouble, isn't it? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Some of these big moves. The trouble is, the higher that is, obviously, you know, the moves, you get a lot more out of them, but there's more risk. But it was down, it was floating around the 1618 yesterday, I think, something like that. Okay, so news has come. Not massively really beneficial, up and down a bit, 4 points either side, but let it sort itself out, do what it's going to do. Is it going to break out or come back down? Nothing really, a flip and more of a doji than up, down, up, down, up, down, and up to more or less where it was before it started. So Second entry short there. I'm just not short in there. Need to let it sort itself out. That PA I did, Grohl Daddy, I blew it. I took a loss. I just had the one and I took a loss. 2 losses in a day. That was, I think it was beginning of the week, and it just got in my head. And so usually I generally do 1 at a time. So I'm doing 3 this time, and I'm reducing the actual contract size. Because I'm starting to realise that with the losses from 2 contracts, it's just getting inside my head too much, and so I decided to make some changes. So I'm just dropping my contract size, and spreading it over 3, risking only trading 2 accounts one way, one day to the next. Yeah, there was a second entry. I did look at it, but it's just caught out so many times there. Really, you just don't know what it's going to do you? Hindsight's a wonderful thing. Okay, so you would maybe think, come down to the bottom. Seems to be ranging at the moment. It's clearly touching nice here, touch nice here, close, body, close with the break. We had the bum break the other side. Quite often happens, doesn't it? You get the break the other side, overshoot the other side. Yeah, see that one there? The plan was to ride it up, and it got a little bit up and downy quick, so I bottled it here. And I kept thinking about yesterday. I wanted to come down, but it went up anyway. It's always the way in it when you decide to to give in, it just goes up anyway. But I like the fact that we'd had 1 leg down, 2 pushes up, another leg down, and then we had the failed second entry short with a lovely big bullish bar. May have been a few which got trapped there, and there may be a few second entry shorts in there. So I just put my order, wait for it to tick above to trigger it, drop my order in, and took 5.5 points out of it, and then took that stupid trade 5 minutes before the news. But I got out of it with a point loss, so it could have been worse. It's bounced around the daily.
Order submitted.
hopefully, if it can get up there and bounce off the bottom, hopefully second entry short, push up close below the EMA and below the bottom of this range for another leg down to the bottom. I thought it was looking like a hidden second entry short at the moment, but if I take these up at the EMA after the breaks, I like to push them through and just sit right under there in an ideal world. Sitting sort of like that. Just you take them like that, where they're sat under like that, it just works so much better. I did look at that one. I'm not a fan of the bar anyway. It's half and half, isn't it? But it's just touched it. Trouble is, you take them, comes down here, stops you out, you leave them, they come straight down. So you're damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Order cancelled.
Yeah, Jay. Short-term trend channel. I mean, we're clearly going from top to bottom, aren't we? Obviously, we had the news, so we flitted around, but then we came down strongly. If we got a good second entry up, I expected it to come down to the bottom, which it is. Unfortunately, I mean, it may have looked a bit better on someone else's. If that was a tick lower on someone else's chart, it might look a bit better. Having said that, I much prefer that they push up above and then short. And like I say, I like them like that, really. As close to that EMA as possible. Push above and then strongly push down. But yeah, look, I mean, it's a shame, really, because if there would have been there, I'd have sort of gone down maybe sort of, maybe I don't tend to push it to the bottom, but maybe 6 points. And if I'd have taken 6 points, that would have triggered. I usually sort of, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, around here, somewhere like that. Not too close. So whether it will push up there or not, I can't really move that any higher without, I could probably go to there. It's better there, really. Just touch it in the middle and it's sitting on there. Obviously, that's a breakout. May come down in a little bit more. I don't know, but. $150, yeah. I was hoping it would push up and come back a little bit and then push up again, retest the bottom of this, and then sit below that bar, and that would have given us a nice few points there, a nice maybe 5, 6 points, something like that to the bottom. And then if I'd have got that, I'd have just switched on to a demo then for the next hour or two. See, will it come down some more? Sometimes if it's hard to say, really, isn't it? Because if you look here, say it tested, it sort of came back and hit around there, didn't it? Which is, funnily enough, so it might come down a bit lower or it might not. Depends on whether, I mean, I wouldn't have taken that long. It's not low enough and safe enough, really. I prefer them now. Just out of experience, if I'm going to take a short off the top, I prefer them like that. They push out and come down and finish low. And if this is the top of the trade, it pushes off. Obviously, once it gets above here, maybe, I don't know, longs will take their profits and maybe shorts will think, well, I'll wait till it gets above the range and then buy. Because a lot of, from speaking to people, a lot of people don't wait for us for a signal bar. They'll wait for it to go where they think it's going to go and then drop a sell order in and then maybe give it a few points. Whereas we wait for it to go up, come down and close bearish before we take a short. So many times I've been stopped out here. It'll go down there, stop me out and then rocket up, which tells me that there's a load of buy orders below there. So if there's a load of buy orders below the bottom of the range, there'll be a load of sell orders at the top of the range. Yeah, I thought it may come down a bit lower because it hasn't really come down low enough, really. So whether this will turn into a bigger channel and come out the bottom or not, who knows? Possibly. I prefer it to come down a little lower, really. Especially to get this leather leg. Okay, so that's sitting on the bottom now. 1, 2. That looks like 3 legs there, doesn't it? Interesting. Now, let's see what happens if this pushes up. Oh, okay. I'm not sure whether it is or not. Ooh, look at that. Let's get rid of it for now. Yesterday's lower. I didn't notice that. I usually put a mark there. Let's have a look. Okay, yesterday's low. Interesting. Maybe this is turning into a bit of a channel. As said, more of a slight, a little spike. Have a look. Oh, don't fucking do that. Sorry about the language. These are a pain in the arse sometimes. Done. Oh, you done? All right, Sam. Take it easy, buddy. Have a good weekend, mate. Have a good weekend, lad. See if this pushes up. Possible second entry short. Trouble is, I don't know how I feel about going short when we've been ranging. Normally, when you've been ranging, you think if it's going to break out, most of the time they'll fail. So you would expect it to push in. So the last thing I want to do is get caught going short there. I'm not saying it won't do that. I mean, this could be a push out. It could be a couple of legs back, retest the bottoms, touch the EMA, and then come down some more. But it's just so risky, isn't it? It's certainly 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's certainly confirmed it's a channel of some sort, but I think the range has to take precedent, doesn't it? So, I mean, it may form bearish, trigger, and then push up, in which case people will get stopped out, or it may just come rocketing down. It's hard to say. I'd have preferred it to come down and touch this yesterday's lows, but hopefully, it's pushed up anyway, so that's all right. Okay, so it's done what it's supposed to anyway, broken out, pushed up. Interesting. Let's see if we get a lower high. So, okay, so let's just give it... These are areas where I've been trapped before. Strike a low one, strike a low twice. Possible trap there. So if you go long there, it might trigger and come down. So I'd rather wait for the lower high if I'm thinking about going short. Try to go on, or it could trap some shorts there. What's the safest option? Try to go low once, try to go low twice. I'm just going to stay out of this, and hopefully, if it ends up bullish and it triggers and comes down, I might have an order below there. Right on the line. Try to go low once, try to go twice. Triggered. Let's see if this comes down before it hits higher. This comes down bearish. May come short. I don't think it's going to. No. Okay. Try to go once. Try to go twice. The failure's triggered. If it didn't go higher, then I was hoping it would come down and go bearish, and then obviously take out any possible people taking the failure going up into the range. But I think we're past that now. Yeah, it's probably going to be a leg and a leg. I mean, it's still possible to get a lower high down here, and if it does, then that may be doable because we've got this breakout. So some people may go long there. Probably more likely they're going to go long there as the higher low, possibly the failure, which might take out any possible shorts trapped. So there'll be some longs there and probably there. So if it comes down below there, takes out any shorts. I don't think it's getting now, but if it does, then maybe an option for a lower high or a failure or something to continue down. But we're back in the range now anyway. That's quite a bit of a volume this morning. There's not been as much lately. It's quite a bit actually. And the good thing is as well, now it's moving nicely. It's not. There's a bit of congestion there, obviously with the news, but it's actually moving quite fluently. There was a lower high there, which you may have taken. There was a higher low there, which you may have taken. Either one of those would have worked. Quite big bars. The only trouble is, but one leg up, you'd expect another leg up. One leg down, you'd expect another leg down. I've noticed if you look at the markets before the main open, there's lots of very obvious legs, like one leg down, two legs down, one leg up, two leg up, one leg down, two legs down. which is why I took that. I thought one leg up, two legs up. I was expecting to get up to about here, to be honest with you. Anything else was a bonus. Okay, so there's a bearish bar there. So if that triggers, we can come down below the stop of the failures and give us a lower high. High, low, lower high. Then there may be a way down. See, at the moment, this is a break, but we are back in the range, so you've got to be careful. These are areas where I've been trapped, but I'm trying to learn now not to get trapped, so I'm giving the trap the option to work. So there may be some shorts there that may get trapped. There may be some more longs here that may trigger and get trapped. I think it's going to push out, I think. Interesting. Interesting. Interesting to see how bearish this gets. If that ended up bearish down here somewhere, I might take that, but it's going to be a big bar if it does get down here. Interesting. It does look like it's going up, to be fair. There's probably going to be some shorts triggered there, so it's almost definitely going to take those out now. One leg up, two legs up. I think we're well within this range personally now. It's still going up higher, isn't it? And it's slowly grinding up. Any shorts that are in there are out. Any shorts that were in there, I think it's highly likely they're going to get stopped out. There may be, we've had a break, new high, big bearish bar. There's probably going to be some shorts in there, which is triggered. It's slowing, but it does this a lot. I did it yesterday when I was in a trade, but it almost looks like a bull flag up push. I expect the same way up. Unfortunately, there's no option to go long here. If there was, I'd probably take it. See this pattern all the time, don't you? Push, a little bit of congestion on the slightly up bit, and then was sort of like a mirror image. So that type of thing. Something like that, you know what I'm saying? Oh, push up, sideways, push up. I just thought after this, if we do manage to push below here, bearish, then but back into the range. Went long on the first trap. You went long above there, did you? The second entry short, or above that one, or somewhere. Yeah, I think after it pushed up and did this, once it hit this and it came up and came down a little bit more and triggered their shorts, I was pretty sure it was going up. The trouble is, there wasn't really, especially here. Sometimes I do wonder whether, you know, when you get so experienced in seeing these, whether you just maybe let that push up, maybe jump in here or something just before it, because it does tend to do that. It goes up and it sort of curls, doesn't it, before it goes. And we see this pattern all the time. Push up, a little bit of congestion in the direction that we're going, and then another push up. It's almost like a mirror image. We see that every day. And, you know, if I'd have been a betting man, I'd have said, you know, 80%, 85 to 90%, that's going up. Especially when it pushed in this. Especially when that and his shorts got trapped. Usually when you see that, shorts trapped, they seem to just know where those stops are, don't they? So as it, you know, once that bar had formed, then I'd have loved to have jumped in there, and I'd have got 4 points if I'd have done. But it's that thing, really. You know, maybe in 5 years' time, if I'm trading this consistently in 5 years' time and making a stack of money, then you may sort of decide to jump in there. Email meant it. Email and a slow goddamn spell checker, eh? Hey, Jay. Yeah, maybe in 5 years' time, maybe you take that or something. Maybe if you forget this bit, we push up, try to go like one struggle. So you could maybe call that a failure, really, couldn't you? I mean, technically, you could have done that, but it's more of a visual thing, isn't it? Push up. You know, second entry. If you forget that one, sort of push up, break, new high, call that a second entry short, which is triggered, and then this one appears. So, and the EMA starts to go up. So straight away, you're thinking it's going to go up. So if you did decide to jump in here and maybe, I don't know, put your stop below here and risk 2 points, you'll make 4 points out of it, and you know, 2 to 1 risk. But that's a personal thing, if I suppose, to do stuff like that. But if you've been trading full time for 5 years and looking at these charts every day, I'm pretty sure Matt could say, definitely going up here. It's definitely going up here. It's definitely coming. You know what I mean? That's in 5 years' time. We will be retiring on our own private island. Oh, I'm not aiming too high, mate. Just Dubai for me. In fact, there's a few crypto guys I follow. And they both live in Dubai. What they called? God, the one guy. Where is he? I think he's Eastern European. And he was just looking at Bitcoin. He was long in Bitcoin, but in 3 sections. What is it? Around $28,000 at the moment. He was putting one at just under 28, one at 27, and one at 25. And he went, my wife's just walked off. She knows I'm working. They turned the camera on. It's absolutely beautiful. Young woman in a bathing costume walked away, and fantastic, amazing beach, white sand, blue seas, and it's just something about Dubai I love. Not only that, the good thing about Dubai is it attracts the financial types because it's tax-free. Anywhere where you can work through a computer and internet is ideal for Dubai. But I first got interested from a guy called Joe, who was a trader, and he traded Max system. He was actually a teacher before that. He taught English, and he went over to Dubai about, I don't know, maybe 8 years ago, and taught English for a year, him and his girlfriend, and he came back and just happened to learn to trade. And he told me he was earning £300,000 a year UK, and he was paying £140,000 tax. And he started looking into Dubai. They went over there for a week's holiday, loved it. Went back over a few months later to find an apartment, and then I think 3 months after that they sold everything. Done his time on his job, and they've been there ever since. I think they've been there about 4 years, something like that. I started talking to him about a year and a bit ago. He was a nice guy. And I just got chatting with him, and he learnt the same system as Mac. But if you can trade this and make yourself, I don't know, if you've got 10 accounts and you make $2,000 from each account, that's equivalent of $500 a week on each account. That's $2,000. That's nigh on $250,000 a year. And if you can do that, you can clearly scale up. So that's my dream anyway. But I always like to have these dreams and these goals. They just help motivate me and inspire me. And it's good to have dreams, I think, absolutely. Because, it's that goal at the end of the day, isn't it? That picture in your head, that image of the life you want or the life you desire. I didn't learn to trade to earn 25 grand a year. You know what I mean? I learned to trade. 2 reasons. One, because I hate working for other people. You work your ass off. You get no thanks for it. The company I used to work for an oil company. And all the managers and their wives, every year at Christmas, they got taken to Birmingham, put in a beautiful hotel, all their food, all their drink paid for, and all the lads, all the guys had to pay for their own and that. And every wall you see in the building, it goes on about equality. Well, that was a load of crap. I'm sick of working for lining other people's pockets. I want to work for myself. I have worked for myself before, about 12, 13 years ago. And for Christ's sake, you can't even call 3 hours a day part-time. A part-time job in the UK is typically half-time, so it's about 20 hours a week, 3 hours a day. Christ almighty, I wouldn't call that part-time. I call that semi-retired. It's just my dream to do that. I'm 53 now. In another 3 years, that's what I'd love to be doing. Another 3 to 4 years, something like that. And I'd like to go out there for maybe 5 years, maybe 5 or 10 years, work, earn money, have a nice lifestyle, maybe save, invest in some stocks, into some cryptos or whatever, and then maybe come back in 10 years and retire in the UK maybe trade part-time and just, buy a house outright. And so, it's just, if you ask me what my dreams are, what my hopes and goals are, that's what they are. Whether they'll ever happen, I don't doubt I'll make a nice, a decent living out of trading. But whether we'll end up move, obviously I've got to take my wife and daughter into consideration. Yeah, I wish I'd have done it when I was younger, Sam. I'm 53 now, but I'm quite a young 53. I'm still relatively active and relatively fit. But I'm a young 53. I act like a 2-year-old sometimes when I'm with my mates or around my daughter. I'm one of life's... People know I don't take much in life seriously. I'm a joker, a piss taker. I'm always winding people up and practical jokes and that. I've got sort of a young mind now. I'll tell you something. If you'd have taken the failed breakout and run that up, see, that's what I mean about that gorilla guy stops. If he'd have taken that one or that one, he'd have put it there, 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 and he'd be sitting there. So let's have a look. Would he take that one? He'd certainly take this one. He'd take it as a limit order. So he'd be sat there like that now. Guaranteed himself 13 points. And he might bring it up here now. So look at that. There's 16.5 points. There you go. That's gone up. Even if you take it at the top. Yeah. And how quick did that go up? 16 points. If you say to me what will be your ideal amount per account for a day's work, I'd say $300, which is not a massive amount. $300. If I took that trade and run that up to the top, I'd give myself 5.5 days, over a full week's worth of profit in what, 10 minutes? 15 minutes. And then Mac, no disrespect to him, of course, but anyone taking a point would take that little bit. That's why I stopped taking a point. I mean, look at that. You take a point. And look at all that. You know what I mean? Yeah, you're going to lose the odd trade, but instead of taking a point, isn't it better to take 13, 14, or 15? You're taking 1 point, you're taking 15 trades, 15 worth of profits there. Who's the gorilla guy you keep mentioning? He's called Gorilla Price Action. He's an Israeli guy called Natan, or Nate, he calls himself. He lives in Israel, somewhere in Israel. I think it's just outside Tel Aviv or something he lives. And he trades live, but he charges $100 to watch him trade. He trades for about an hour and a half a day. But he trades exactly the same style as us, but he doesn't take less than, I believe, 6 points. So if he took this trade, he'd let it run up. Once it pushed above there, he'd put it to here, and he'd leave it there. Once it pushed up from here, he'd put it there. Once we pulled back and we pushed out this, obviously you'd expect it, he'd run him up and he'd just put him there and he'd get taken out there. There is a Discord, but you've got to pay. I know to watch him trade, you've got to pay $99 a month. But to be fair, he actually loses more trades than we do. He takes exactly the same style, but he does take slightly risky trades. Now, he was taking, I watched him trade at a range, and the market came down to here, and he took a long, and it triggered him, came down and stopped him out. And he took another one here straight after, and it triggered him, came down and stopped him out. It broke out the bottom, came back, sat on there, which is the ideal place to take it, and he rode it up for 14 points. So he lost about 6 or 7, and then on the third trade got 14 points. So I prefer, it's just we've all got our ways of doing it. Now, I talk to people, talking to Dan yesterday. Now, Dan's been trading, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 years, and I know for a fact he earns a ton of money. I was on a conversation with him about a year and a half ago on Facebook, the Facebook group. There was some guy sprouting on about you can't earn money doing this, that, and the other. And I think Daniel at the time said he earned $450,000 last year. That was 18 months ago. So you know, you can earn a lot of money. But he trades 6 ticks, and he recently went up from, used to trade 4 ticks, but everybody's different, really. Some people like that small consistency, and they may trade runners. The trouble is, if you're scalping a pointer, that it's no good having 2 contracts, because I think Mac talks about really you want to do it with 5 contracts. So I'm sure he said something like, don't use your runner on more than 25% of the profit. So, you know, if you've got 5 contracts, if you've got four contracts, trade 1 as a runner and 3 scalp. No more than that. So don't do it with 3 and 1 or 2 and 1. So if I'm only trading 2 contracts, it just doesn't work having a runner. How many points he was risking when he made 14? Most of the time, if he sees this and he thinks it's going to push off, he'll drop it in somewhere around here. He'll risk 1 to 2.5 points. If he sees this coming down, but he's very much with the legs. He believes massively in legs. So 1 leg, 2 leg. It might not be a great signal bar, but let's say this was 2 perfect legs down and we went higher. He'll wait for the next couple of bars and he may drop it in here, but he doesn't generally take it where we do and put it 1 tick above. He'll use his judgment, and when he does that, he will lose a few more trades. But when he wins his trades, he wins a lot more points. I saw him trade a market a few months ago, and if you look on YouTube, he took 32 points. He took a second entry. It was a leg break leg, he calls them, basically a second entry. Slightly risky looking bar, and he let it run up to about here, and it came down a couple of times and moved up again, and he put his stop here, and then he moved his stop, and then he lets it go a fair bit first, and he took 32. He actually could have got 38, because when it pushed up, it went right to the top of the channel. That's where I'd have come out, because you would naturally think it would come down maybe 8 or 10 points then. But it was quite a high ATR day, so, you know, the sort of distance from sort of, you know, the distance from sort of here to here, it had sort of gone up and gone up and gone up and gone up. But high ATR, and he got 32 points. Could have had 38 on 1 trade, and he risked, I think it was a 1.75. But you are going to take more losses that way. And obviously the downside to losses, you've got to be a confident trader to be able to take more losses. I think it's one of those, you know, we know about the high probability trades, the 90-95% trades. If you're going for more points, you may be taking 70%, winning 70% of them. So you are going to take more losers. And as a less experienced trader, losers obviously have a slight psychological impact. But then when you get days, you might get 20 points or something like this, then they balance out. And in the long run, you make more money. But everyone's different. Some people love to stick to the 0.5, 1.2 points. And I absolutely respect that. I just look back over my trades and charts. See, I took that one, came out for 5.5 points. Now, if I'd have run it to the top and followed every swing, I'd have got taken out there. So straight away, I took that right on the bell there. Straight away, I'd have had 7.5 points there. If I'd have took it to the top, I'd have got 9.5 points. Okay, so that trade there, what did I take? I didn't take a trade here, did I? If I'd have taken that failure, that higher low as a risk, maybe took it as a limit bar and took it to the top, you'd have made 16.5 points. So straight away, you're up 25.5 points in 2 trades. Now, it won't work every time, but, you know, once you gain experience, and I think he said he'd been trading for about 8 years. I just look back on my charts and people like Marco's charts or Daniel's charts or the more experienced traders. I tend to latch on to experienced people. People feel, you know, that I want to learn from and just watch their charts. many times in the evenings I get my chart out on this. I'd have Mac's chart on one of the other screens. I'd have Marco's or Daniel's chart, or there was another guy who used to be there on another one, and I compare mine to theirs. And if you just go back over the numbers, how much could I have made on there? But obviously, on range days, you're limited to how much you can take by the top of the range. But if we're in a general channel day, and you've got the confidence to be able to let it come back 6 or 8 points and take you out for the possibility of making a lot more. But the more you do it, the more you'll realise what works. Well, I traded for 1 point. Now, I'd win 4 trades in a row. I'd work my ass off for 4 trades in a row, and I'd lose one. The ATR might be 3.5. Tick above, tick below. Minus commissions, I'd be in the red. So I'd win 4, lose 1, and I'd be in the red. It was heartbreaking. So I looked at Daniel's charts every day for the last 2 weeks. And every single one of the trades he marked, there was about 34 trades. There were some of the green ones, which were high probability, but every single one of them made at least 2 points. So out of 34 trades, every one of them. So for me, that was a no-brainer. That would double my profits. And then I started to feel like this was something I could work with, but I just found it so hard trading for 1 point. Now, if I could afford to trade 5 contracts, so go for 4 1-point scalps and the 1 point runner, then obviously the runners can help with your profit. But, for a young trader who hasn't got a big balance, trading 1 point scalps, with a contract or two, it's heartbreaking. Unless you're very experienced, I don't think you can really make money at it. Where do you check Daniel's chat? He doesn't post. He doesn't post anymore so much. But I went on to 2 points maybe, 16, 18 months ago. He used to post regular there, but, he's obviously doing well in life now. So he's, I think when you're more learning, you tend to hang around the sort of Facebook group a little bit more, to get some help, advice, and, to post your charts, get some feedback. But obviously, he's moved into the sort of realms of nice business, nice earnings, So, but yeah, he used to post this chart every day, and I flicked back over the last 2 weeks, took a screenshot of every chart and just went through the charts and just worked out how much would that trade, how many points. And there wasn't one of them in I think it was 36 or 34 trades over 10 days, two working weeks, that didn't make less than 2 points. So straight away, my profits went up 100%. Now, even if 20% of them didn't work, you would still be way in profit. Doesn't drink with a riffraff anymore. I mean, he still keeps in contact with people. I mean, I know he chats regularly with another buddy of mine that I chat with offline a bit. But he still keeps in the realms. But, if you're, when you're still sort of learning and you're still experiencing things, like most of the time, a lot of days I'll post my chart on the Facebook groups just to get some feedback. And if any of my, if it goes down the line, doesn't it? You've got the more experienced guys sort of, helping out the younger guys. And then when the younger guys get more experience, they help out the newer guys. And it's, I always said, no matter how long I was trading, if I continue to do this Facebook group, now a lot of people, when they get a bit more experience, like the Panda guy, he charges for the members. I know V Wilson now charges 30 quid a month or something. I would never charge, purely because I got so much help from that Facebook group, from people like Marco, people like Daniel, and a bunch of other guys. There's a few other guys that don't come on there. And I, some days, I couldn't sleep at night. I get quite obsessive with things, and I couldn't sleep properly because stuff was on my mind. And I sent so many messages to people just asking for help, and they never turned me down. I always got help. So people helped me get to the level I am now, where I'm moving on to more the intermediate level, where my trading's come on and it's good enough to make money. It's just the psychology I'm just struggling with a bit, which is always the hardest bit to master. But I always said, no matter how experienced I get or how much money I make, if I continue to do these things, I'd never charge anybody because no one ever charged me. Mac, obviously, it's a different story. He's been trading for nigh on 30 years. But to be fair, the amount of value he's given me for $125 is a price I'll never be able to repay, you know. It's such a small, measly amount of money to charge to charge someone and to give them the experience of, wealth of experience you've got to help them make a better life for themselves. So I always said I'd never charge anybody because of the help people have given me. Yeah. So yeah, I've been rabbiting on for a bit now, haven't I? Well, it's probably the neatest looking range day we've had for a while, isn't it? So there was a lower high there, wasn't there? I did consider that. But at some point it may have a little bit of a... Let's have a look. I don't like the fact that there's a second entry long there. See, to be honest with that, was a bit of a careless trade. I think in maybe most days, if there wasn't the news, I might have got away with that. But it was a bit congested, and I was aware of it. Now, if there wasn't the news, I may have got lucky there. But fortunately, I realised what was happening in the news, and I got out for a 1 point loss. But I'm just trying to rein myself in. I get a little bit too over keen. I'm quite a wired person, as you know. I talk a lot. I tend to do everything in life quick. So I just need to slowly rein myself in and take a breath sometimes. And I get a little bit too over keen. And I knew the news was coming. I mentioned it about 2 minutes before I completely forgot about it. So, but there you go. But I do feel like I'm getting experienced or more experience on these charts. I used to get trapped so many times, but I'm learning to identify. That's the thing about losing. When you lose a trade, you learn from it. But the trades I learn from are the trades I believe to be good setups. But as you all know, I'm guilty of taking stupid setups that I know. I took a trade yesterday. We had a push up, and it wasn't a proper second entry. The bar didn't close lower, and you could see it was congested, but I just tried to get a bit too lucky. Instead of reeling it in a bit and slowing down and thinking it's not a good setup, let it go. But I think it was getting a little bit too confident about that bigger runner. I ended up getting stopped out instead of potentially losing $600. But, the principle of letting the runners move a bit and letting them, giving them room for breathe if we're in a trend, unfortunately, at the time, I was sort of in a trend going like here. But what I failed to notice, if I'd have looked, I was that focused on this. Well, I didn't realise it was a two-tier channel. So eventually, markets sort of then started coming down here and took out my order. It went up a few times and went up, pushed up again. And I should have really just, if at least, followed each individual swing and then just taken what I could. And then but I think that's what I'm going to do. Concentrate on the swings instead of just giving it too much to breathe. At the end of the day, you've at least got a secure break even. If a trade runs 5 or 6 points, I think it's at least important to take break even. If you take break even, you've not lost anything. But I don't know, just a little bit too confident, maybe not thinking so much. And that, but I don't mind when things like that happen. I've got no issues with losing trades or messing up from lack of experience. The bits that have always crippled me is when the psychology's taken over and I've thought, market's going down, let's sell, click 1, 2, 3, let's grab a few ticks, I'm up a few $100, it's going back up, or let's buy quickly, hit buy 4 or 5 times. You know, that real trading on tilt where you just go mad until you either blow your account. Those just make me feel physically sick now. Taking a trade I believe to be a good setup that stopped me out, or yesterday when I took that trade, letting it run and getting a bit too confident, they don't affect me because I know that's lack of experience as opposed to just pure stupidity. And I always say it never affects me if I think I'm doing it properly, but I've lost it from lack of experience rather than just, and I've done it before. If you look here, I've got 5 contracts. If you look here, I've got 10 contracts. There'd have been some times if I'd have been down $600 in a day on a PA account, I'd have just had that urge to go back or to carry on, pure frustration. I see the market down here going down here. I won't think, oh, I can't go short, it's too far from the EMA. I'll just hit sell. And I'll get my stop and slowly follow it, and I'll grab 2 or 3 ticks and just, I'll go stupid. Which I think we've all done at times. But when you're doing that and you're in the middle of it and after it, you feel physically sick. So if you can manage to stop that, the general losses from, you know, maybe poor trades or lack of experience shouldn't really affect you enough to blow accounts. I only ever blow accounts where I revenge trade. In fact, I can't think of a time where I've blown account just from losing trades from lack of experience. So I know how to trade and I can identify a good setup. It's just that greed gets hold of me, or the frustration and the psychology jumps in and takes over, and I do stupid things. But you know, I do believe it'll come to a point where you'll just, you know, I think I'm a bit stubborn or a bit too confident sometimes. But it'll come to a point where, you know, I'll just realise that, you know, and it's an analogy I've used before, if you bang your head against the wall enough times, you start to realise you bleed. So look at this, it's actually swinging quite nice. Look, if the breakout there, see? Now there was 2 options there. You could have thought trend, break. Now I was aware it could go lower, but I was aware that you could very easily get trapped. And if you'd have taken that short there, you would have got trapped. You could have said, oh, second entry short there. Alarm bells. 1, we've had a breakout of this range. 2, it's closed above the EMA. So I always like to now give it a chance to trigger and push up before I think about coming in. So I'm trying to identify areas where I'm likely to get trapped, because most of the times at these key entry points are where people make trades, experienced traders and inexperienced traders. And that's where the difference is. The experienced traders take out the inexperienced traders because they know where the stops are. So once you can start to learn to identify areas where you've been trapped many times before, then you start to learn not to get trapped yourself and hopefully be on the right side. But I've heard Mac many times say he loves trading range days because he shorts the top, buys the bottom, and in days like this, this is certainly one of the better range days. I mean, it is at least closing within a tick or 2 or exactly of the top, apart from the obvious failed breakouts. But every time that breakout, big bearish bar, came straight back in. Breakout, not a brilliant bar, came straight back in. Breakout the bottom, big bullish bar, came back in. Breakout the bottom, you may have took that one. If you'd have took that one, it would have worked. So every time it hits the top and there's a bearish bar, it comes back down. Every time it breaks out the top or bottom and there's a bearish or a bullish bar, it comes back in. So one would think actually it's pretty straightforward trading these. But it's easier said than done sometimes, because, you know, the emotions and all that kicks in when you're looking and getting ready and you're hovering over with your order. But it is moving really nicely, actually. It's moving lovely. Plenty of room for profits. You know, if you'd have taken that, nice bit of profit there. If you'd have sort of maybe, I don't know, taken something from here, nice bit of profit. That one for me, I came out about here, but you'd have got 9, 10, 11 points, something like that out of it. You may have taken that lower high. You'd have certainly got 5 points out of it. You may have taken that higher low, although it was risking a big bar, but you'd have, you know. My start watching Matt's videos, day, trading next door. Just can't figure him out. Very intuitive trader, makes 2, 3, 4K a day. Had to stop watching him. Day trader next door. I don't think I've heard of him. Day trader next door. No. I've heard by trades by Matt, but he trades slightly different from us, doesn't he? Okay. Channel overshoot. Break out the bottom of this line. Ooh. Interesting. Overshoot, which can lead to a reversal, which means it can go up. Trouble is, at some point it could break out properly and
Order submitted.
just going to put that there. I'm not going to take one randomly. If you push up a bit and get a higher low, then I may run it back to the bottom or the EMA. Every time it's broken out, it's pushed back in. A little bar there. See if it comes back and takes that out. It's actually a small risk, but I'm not interested at the moment. I'd rather wait for a higher low. At least ride it back to the EMA somewhere. Yeah, see if you'd taken that one, you'd have got shafted. Yeah, so I am aware that when they break out, they usually go back in, but they don't always. And if you'd have taken that one, triggered stop date. Which is why I tend to wait for the higher lows on that one. Unfortunately, you don't always get one, and sometimes it just pushes up strongly, which looks like it's going to do. Yeah, that'll get to the EMA, at least at the bottom of here.
Order cancelled.
Some different by trade. Yeah, I noticed some watch trades by Matt, but doesn't he trade quite differently than us? I think he does. So I'm thinking if I can change the bottom here somewhere, but it's still fitting nice, isn't it? 2 touches there, 1 touch here, a couple of bodies there, body, touch. Okay, possible higher low. Lower high. Let's get an order ready.
Order submitted.
Case. Trouble is, it could push up and bounce off the bottom and come out.
Order cancelled.
Clearly an overshoot. New low anyway, so it could push up. It's just sometimes you just don't even get a like there. There's no entry there anyway, but look, straight up 4 points. I keep trying to keep in mind as well, throughout this whole movement, all you really need is 1 trade a day. That will get you the life you want, really. Sometimes you think, oh, I've got to get in somewhere. I haven't got much of the day left. 3 hours to get 1 trade is actually quite a lot of time. Get burned, counter trend trades. Yeah, I generally not take them. Obviously, in a range, you're going to be taking short and longs, aren't you? But yeah, I generally avoid them. If you've got an uptrend, I tend to avoid them altogether. I think I don't take them. I am an advocate of not taking them. But a lot of people still do. I suppose it depends. If it's a very wide range and you're only scalping a point or two, I don't think it really makes. I don't think it's so much of an issue. So there's a possible second entry short here, but same issue there. Second entry short. If it took that, signal bar was okay, but it was a tick above it. And trouble is, we're in a range at the moment, so many times I go, oh, second entry short, I'll take that. And then I think it's more important that we're still ranging. So see that leg break leg, that's a perfect measured leg if that fits out right. Trouble is, I just can't bring myself to go short. It'd be interesting to see. I like to see if it triggers. And if it triggers and doesn't push up and comes down and gives you a lower high, then you've got an option to go lower. But so many times I'll go second entry short, it'll trigger me and then push up. And you could have had a failed second entry short and back into the range. So, we are learning. It might come down. It may continue to come down. It's definitely coming out lower. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to come out, but it could do. And sometimes I get that focused on what it usually does as opposed to realising it doesn't always. Okay, so there's a failure there, possible failure. But it is two legs. Two clear legs. Okay, so if you'd have took that bearish bar there, it's now triggered you. Okay, so it's a second entry short. Now, if it pushes above here and triggers above here, it's a failure, which is triggered. So then I'll expect it to go up. So would you want to take a long there? Trouble is, once that pushes up there, you've got 3 bars back to back. So you've got a little bit of extra risk there. Now, every time, if you think of the picture, every time it comes out, it's gone in, it comes out, it's gone in, it comes out. So the pattern is, every time it breaks out 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 times it comes back in. So this is a failure. So I'm going to put a buy order there. Because there's probably going to be some shorts. Now, it may go short, but if it doesn't, it's probably going to kill some shorts there. Trap some shorts. See, it's a second entry short which is triggered. Now it might push up back into the range and it may just keep coming down. New low, try to go low once, try to go twice, failed, push up, back into the range. Okay, that's a possible failure. See if it triggers. Hopefully, if it triggers, now you may put your stop above there if it's bullish, but I'd rather mine above there because it could trigger and still come down. See, there could be a double trap here, but I should be okay as long as I keep my order above there. See, if this triggers, it could come down as a lower high. Just checking it's not congested or going sideways. That has triggered now, so it could come down as a lower high and take out the failure. So you might say, well, if you're taking a failure, it needs to be there. And yeah, ideally it would be, but I'd rather play the safe game and just check I'm not going to get trapped and leave it there. It's a little bit of extra risk, but if it pushes above there, I'd have more of a chance of pushing up then.
Order submitted.
Okay, so it stopped where it is. So let's push that up and see what happens. So it is a failure which is triggered. At least I've give it, by putting it above there, I'll give it a little bit of time to run as well. So just thinking about the pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times it's broken out of the range and gone right to the other side of it. It's done it there, it's done it there, it's done it there, and it's done it there. So you would think it would likely do it here. But it's obviously possible that it could be an exception to the rule. Once it goes a bit higher, then we may get a bit of a run there, but it is possible it could come out, but unfortunately, it's not moving up as quick as I hoped it would do. If you look here, a little bit of congestion, but then it started to go then. So if we can get up above here, then I think it'll go. The trouble is, what it could do is start to go sideways, which means it could do this. So I might, if it holds above that EMA, at the moment it's retesting this line here, which it did a bit there, but then pushed up. So if we can push up above here, then I think we're okay. See, it's triggered that bar. If it doesn't stop that bar out, I think we're okay. If it eventually pushes, it's okay to pull back a bit, but if it eventually pushes up, I think we're okay. Now, might have taken out some longs there, and a lot of the cases will do that and push higher anyway, so I think I'm still okay, but there is a possibility. But just to look at the pattern for the rest of it, it pushed in. Every time it came out, it pushed in. As long as price is held by the EMA, it might just take a little bit of sideways. And as long as it goes sideways, but it goes up a bit, well, if you look up here, it didn't run the stops there. It didn't run the stops there. Took a higher low there. It didn't run the stops there. It didn't run the stops there. Every time it's gone up. I mean, this is possibly a second entry long. We'll see. Yeah, this is going to take me out, I think. I mean, it's clearly a failure. It's a little bit below the EMA, which is why I took it above above there. Frustrating thing, when it takes you out, it'll come down to here and then rocket back up. Okay. Triangle once, triggered. So there's second entry long there. That may trigger and come down and take the longs out. We'll see. Okay, there's a second entry long there. Okay. So if it comes down and stops them out, I'm going to put mine one tick below there, because if it comes down, try go one, try as a failure and stops out the second entry long, it's going to come down. So I might as well take less risk. If we can push up now, I think we're okay. Come on, push up. Come on, push up. Push up. If it gets above here, I think we're okay.
Stop filled.
Okay, that didn't even seem to come and touch me, did it? Okay, I got out there without any loss anyway, so... I mean, it may still go. The only trouble is there's a second entry long there, but it's a bit below the EMA, but I wouldn't be shocked if it comes down and takes out them stops. If it takes out the stop there, it'll come down and take out the failures. I'm just wondering, actually, if this channel's a bit... Yeah, I think it is, actually. It may be okay. But it has just gone a bit choppy now. Sometimes it'll go choppy for a while and push up. I think it might... Well, it's broken above there anyway, so... Sometimes you just got to sit them out. If it rockets up here now, yeah, that's the thing sometimes. I should have left it. Oh, well. If it rockets up now, I'm going to kick myself. That's why, you know, sometimes you're better off just leaving your trades. Yeah, look at it go now, look. Okay, so I took mine there. Oh, that's frustrating. Okay, so we're back in the range now. Oh, still in the trade. Am I? Oh, I am, aren't I? Excellent. Okay,
Order filled.
Too greedy. Flatten the trade. There you go. Okay. Sometimes when things go wrong, yeah, I've just cancelled it now. Okay, that got me up 300. What was I? Okay. Hold on a minute. I don't know what happened there. Why am I only showing 450 then? It was an extra couple of $100 there, wasn't there? I don't know what's going on. Oh, look at that. Fuck. Excuse my French. Yeah, thank you. Right, I wish OSB disconnected. Reconnected successfully. Okay, I see what's happened. Yeah, on me other evaluation, 474-546-647-74. I made $400 on my other evaluation. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's all right, Nick. I got it, mate. I noticed your phone's going. I wonder what the vibrating was. Yeah, I got it, mate. Yeah, because I thought, why am I up? Right, in hindsight, my experience is telling me, okay, we're ranging, okay, and every time we break out, we're pushing. So we broke out here, we pushed up to the top. We broke out here, We pushed down at the bottom. We broke out here. We pushed to the top. We broke out here. We pushed to the bottom. We broke out here. What we're going to do lightly, we're going to push to the top. So sometimes when you get these trades, they do go a little bit sideways, but it's down to my lack of experience and lack of confidence why I took it at the sensible place. There was a second entry short there which is triggered. Now I could have taken it at the failure, but it may have triggered me and come down. So I took it at the safe place, which was here. But then it started going a bit sideways. So my stop now would be here. So I'd have guaranteed myself 6.75. But I could have taken, it's pushing up. It's going to do a little bit of sideways like this, and then it's going to push up again. So it's going to do this, and then it's going to push up again like this. That's what I think. Anyway, yeah, I noticed my one account's up an extra $375 in the other one. So, okay, so that worked. Might be a first time on a range actually behaves. Yeah. So, okay, so I wonder what was going on. I wonder I was seeing profit there, but that didn't change because it was only on one of the accounts. Give me a heart attack. Yeah, give myself a heart attack. But okay. Yeah, I saw something there. I got to keep remembering to look, but fortunately, when I got out the trade around about here, I decided to rock it off. But I did wait for a second because I thought, but then I thought, let's not be too greedy. I got a bit lucky there. Well, that little pop just got me up 675. Good on you, mate. Guess I'm drinking the good stuff tonight. Good on you, mate. I mean, really, the trade, it's a perfect two legs up, isn't it? You've got a big bearish bar there, which is triggered. Now, you're almost certainly going to have some shorts in there, aren't you, really? So instead of just taking the failure and putting it one tick above that bar, which was the bar that was going to fail, I played the safe game and put it one tick above the bearish bar because it could trigger the failure, come down and create a lower high to go short, because at some point it could shoot out the bottom and come down. So I took it at the safe place, but it went up a little bit, which was good. A little bit sideways, then came down. But now I've adjusted this channel. The channel works fine, so it's rightly so. It could come down. And in a lot of cases, well, in most cases, when you look at trends, every time it goes up, they're higher, which they were. So really, it's just my lack of experience and a little bit of doubt why I got out of that trade. But if I'd have stayed in the trade, the trouble is I'd have put it here, so I got taken out. But I'd have got $675, which would have put me on $1,000 for the day. You caught 5 on the push back up, yeah. Well, it's behaving like a really attractive range, isn't it? It's coming from, and it doesn't often do this, top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom, and so on. And it's doing it beautifully. So you would expect that now to do exactly the same, wouldn't you? So I'm not a fan of trading, I'm not a fan of trading ranges, but when they're quite neat like this and they're performing like they should. Anyway, so I got $350 on one of my other accounts, so that wasn't too bad, was it? So I'm at $450 on 2 accounts. Yeah, $450 on 2 accounts. That's $900 plus an extra $300. I've got to say, sometimes when one doesn't trigger or one does, you usually end up losing, but sometimes you can win. Okay, so we got a new high there, lower high. I don't think for a second it's coming down. Why would you want to short there? That's, I say it's going to push straight back up where I marked it. So I didn't take the higher low, I took the failure, and I didn't take it here because there was a second entry short. So it's still, these are the areas that I'm identifying where I'm likely to get. Now I could, if I was thinking along there, which I think most were, there was a second entry short. Now it was the same height as that, but it was nice and bearish. So that I think a lot of inexperienced traders would have got in there, or experience, thinking, you know, this is the lowest we've got, perhaps we're going lower, which triggered. So instead of getting in there, because it could have just ticked up to the EMA, triggered me, come back, stopped me out, and had a beautiful lower high to go lower. I played the safe game and put it one tick above there. Now this is looking like a possible second entry long. Trouble is we've had an overshoot, and an overshoot could mean it could go in the other direction. So yeah, that's the first time. Yeah. I think what it is, because obviously the market moves at speed, doesn't it? It happens in milliseconds. And obviously when you trigger the one, there's obviously a signal in the software to say trigger the other one. Now that happens a split second later, but obviously markets don't wait for that, do they? One leg, two leg. If this ends up bearish, I'm tempted to take this. One leg, two. I prefer it to push through there, really, but one leg, two leg. But it could trigger me and then come down as a failure, so it's slightly risky. So I had a bit extra luck today. Let's see if we can get see, that would be a safe place to take that. Trouble is, it's a big risk there. Okay, so we got that high. Try to go on. Now these overshoots can result in a push the other direction, in a reversal, so it could come back down. So you got to be careful here. It's not touching the EMA. It is two legs. There is a bearish bar there. If that triggered the bearish bar, then any shorts there or any failures, well, it hasn't triggered yet, would get taken out. So then, why would you? If once it gets above there, you wouldn't think about going short, would you? Really? Buy a lottery ticket to like that. It's about time it went. It has gone in my favour a couple of times, I will say. It has gone in my favour a couple of times. Okay, so there's a failure. Let's see if that triggers. Well, I'll be careful of, though. It's okay going along and thinking, yeah, you've trapped someone. But then what often can happen is it can go sideways there. So your trade, which looked fantastic, might do a little bit of this. That's the trouble. So it could go a little bit sideways, often when there's a little bit of indecision. Okay, so we're halfway up. Are we going up or are we coming down? So you just don't know, do you? So, but at least I'm getting a little bit more experience now that I avoid getting trapped. Because if I'd have thought, oh yeah, let's go short here, I'm triggered. The way it's looking, it's gonna push up now. It's not a terrible place. The trouble is, if you take along there and think, oh, you're going to, you know, take out any possible shorts, it could tick above and then come down to the bottom and then come to the top and start ranging, which it looks like it might be. And that's the trouble. You might think if it gets above there, no one's going to go short, but then it could do this. And, you know, I bought a lottery ticket for years. You know, with a lottery ticket, you're more likely to get struck by lightning twice. So I might as well never go out the house again. No, I've done a lottery for years. Okay, interesting. Okay, so the overshoot may move it in a different direction. Or that's the failure that's triggered. It could touch the EMA and then bounce off. Let me just see if there's two legs here. One leg. Two legs. Let's see if it touches that. One leg, two leg. I'd prefer it to touch there. Okay, so that's touched that leg now. So now it'll either push through and come down, or it'll push up and take out two lots of stops. Interesting. I'm so tempted to take that, but I'm not going to, just in case it triggers and comes down some more. But I would guess it's still going to move to the top. It might have been overshoot, just a little bit of a correction and push up, but it hasn't finished very good anyway. But it could trigger you and just do this, and there's nothing worse than being stuck in a trade when you don't know whether it's going to tick you out or push up. Okay, excuse me just for a second. I'm just going to take a quick bathroom break. Okay. Sort of like a bull flag, isn't it? Push up, sideways, push up again. Oh, I'm so tempted. See if we get a higher low. I prefer a higher low because I'd prefer to get somewhere where it eats out them stops. I just don't like the congestion here. No, it could burst out. Sometimes these scenarios, they can shoot down quickly, can't they, or jump up quickly, and that's the trouble. If you're on the wrong side of the way it shoots, it can burst through your stop. Yeah, see if you took that. There could be lots of traps in here. See, if you'd have taken that failure, you might not have taken that, but if we had that one and the lower high or two pushes down, you see there's a failure there and a lower high, so it could be trap city. This. See if you took that one. See, if that pushes up and ends up bullish. Yeah, I'm not even taking the higher low if it ends up bullish, because it could still go up here and come back down a bit. Could go sideways for a while. Let's close right on there. Yeah, so if you'd have taken that one, you'd have thought, okay, push up, a little bit of a correction and back up again. You could be worried now. See, that is the lowest part to this, and it's below this range. So if you've got a short there, it's certainly at the safest place anyway. That's going to get taken out without a doubt, I think. 2 ticks, there we go. And it may launch up there now. It is frustrating, see. So you've got shorts there, maybe failures, possibly some longs there, which have got stopped. It's probably going to push out now. So the buyers have lost and the shorts have lost. And often it is frustrating because often it does, you'd buy a tick. Do you know, I heard Max say somewhere on one of his videos, you need to put it below it by at least a tick. And that stuck in my head. And a lot of the times when I had my order there, I'd say, I'm just going to bring it down another tick. And quite a few times it saved my arse just with an extra tick. And it did it yesterday. It took me out for 1 tick because it knows where your stops are. The stop was sort of, if I put my stop here, yeah, and I brought it down by an extra tick, would that have hit me there? No, it wouldn't have hit me, so let's have a look. It's hard to tell, really. I got my stop tick, say, here. I bring it down here, an extra tick. It might not have hit me. I see that so many times. I did it on a big trade. I had about, I think it was about a 10.5 point runner I had. It was a short I took. We had a short-term trend channel. We had a break, 2 pushes up and a bearish bar, but the bearish bar wasn't brilliant. And I took a short and it ticked 1 tick below. No, it was just 1 push up. It ticked 1 tick below, triggered me, came out and stopped me out by 1 tick, came down with a beautiful bearish bar and made 10.5 points. Well, I was going for a phase of giving it an extra tick. So I gave it an extra tick and it ticked above me, didn't hit me stop, and then came down bearish. And I took another short there and I ended up, I carried the short down and ended up with 10.5 points. So I risked an extra $12 or $12.50, but I made 10.5 points. And quite a few times it's done that. Because if you listen to Mac, he'll often say it'll take you out by a tick and then go in the same direction with you. That's not to say it works all the time, but I would say from the trades I've made, it happens. I think you'd probably be better off financially, I would have said. So if you were in that trade, for instance, and it would have triggered you, I mean, it's a bit risky anyway, isn't it? But we're clearly coming down at the moment. But if you were, and you put it 1 tick, that'll take you out 1 tick. So if you gave it an extra tick down here, it wouldn't have done. That's if there is 1 tick between difference. I can't tell really, but let's see now if you would have. So you'd what's the risk there for? So it's a 2 point risk. So tick above, tick below, you're risking 2.5 points. So you've given an extra tick and you've saved yourself a $250 loss. That's if it goes up, which it looks like it's going to. EMA is starting to point. I think there'll be another bar here, close to the top, really bullish, and then it'll go. Looks to me like it's doing this. Short-term trend channel. Yeah, I just left that there because that's how I started it. So it'd be interesting to see if it breaks and comes down. I don't think it will. The only reason I put the short-term trend channel in there because I was thinking about the tops where it was likely to push out. That's the trouble with these. You would clearly be going up at the moment, but when you have an overshoot, it can then go in the opposite direction. There's so many times I've gone, oh, I'll go long here, and it'll trigger me, and I'll think, yeah, I'm in, great, and then it'll come down because we've just had a break of a channel and a new low. But we had the lower high there and the failure, so I'd say there's almost certainly after the overshoot going to be some shorts there. So if it breaks above there, I think that it'll carry on higher like that. But obviously it's possible channel break, new low, but I think the range is more important. The overall bigger picture is more important, isn't it? Personally, if it does break, it'll do something like that, I think. Yeah, so it works out 4, 5, 6, 7. I got an extra $450 there on that other account because it carried on going. Is it 450? $350. $350. No, 400. Sorry, $400. So if I divide that by per account, that's giving me the equivalent of $650 on each account. So it worked in my favour that time. It often doesn't. Yeah, see, I think this is going to push up. And when it does, there's maybe some failures there. It's not the ideal place to go fail, but and then if it pushes above there and it pushes above there, then I think I'm going to continue on because it has been ranging quite strongly. It hasn't been fanning around. It's been going up strongly, coming down strongly, coming down strongly, going up. It's been pretty consistent. So this is a spanner in the works. This is. So we've had a break. It could come down, or it might trigger some shorts and push up. Be interesting to see what happens here. So it's triggered some shorts. If you'd have taken that second entry short, which is triggered, if it goes up and stops that out, it'll carry on higher. But it is ranging now a little bit. So it is a bit of a downtrend, but it's a bit of a range as well. But let me remove that a minute. If it breaks here, then it may come down. I don't really know at the moment. Spoke too soon, mid-range. Yeah. It's sort of like two legs and then some sideways, isn't it? It hasn't broken below that big bullish bar yet. That one it did. So it may eventually work its way up. Had the overshoot, didn't we? Then we got one leg, two legs, and then some sideways. I couldn't tell you what it's going to do here. I mean, just trying to think. We haven't had any areas like this. We had a little bit around here, but that was more to the news, wasn't it? It's the first sort of bit of real sort of sideways we've had, really, isn't it, today? It's been actually quite a nice day to trade today. You know, there's been some nice consistent swings. It's certainly been a lot easier to read today, and it's actually, every time it's gone out, it has, I mean, obviously I got what did I do? Get out there. Oh, I got out there for a break even, but what I should have done really. The trouble is, that I often see Max all the time marking trades, And a lot of the times it'll come down and tick with the same button, but it's, in his opinion, it's still a good trade. So sometimes you just got to leave them. Okay. Got the morning drop. Market going sideways. It's the first time it has today, isn't it? It's a little bit congested here, but it's still going up. But it's not been a bad day today. I'm not usually a fan of days like this, but it's a lot easier to read today. I'm not even going to bother marking that. I came out break even, so it's by the by, really, isn't it? Actually, I am going to mark it because I did get something out of it, didn't I? I only shut down one of the contracts. One of the other ones carried running, so it was a failure, wasn't it? So what did I get out? Let's work that out. What's the difference between the two accounts? 6, 7. It's about, say, $400. It's a little bit more over $400, but let's say 4 points. It's just a shame, really. It didn't do it on both, but oh well. Sometimes you get lucky. If it breaks above here, I'd say it's going to go up then. It's a failure, wasn't it? What was the point I lost? Oh, I did mark that. Okay. Notice you don't have VWAP on your chart. No, Tim. I'm trading a max price action trading system. It's just pure price action. The only indicator we use is the 21-day exponential moving average. The rest are just basically lines and excuse me, just lines and channels, really. But it is a high probability strategy, and it is very effective when you trade it right. Once we get above here, I think we're got a free passage then to the tops, I think. So no, we don't. What is that? I don't even know. What is it? Is it visual weighted? Visual weighted something? I can't remember. Volume weighted something? I can't even think what it is. Volume weighted average something? Interesting. So let's move that out of the way. In fact, I'll tell you what, because I usually add these up. I'm just going to put, I know it's 400, isn't it? 4 points plus that. So what was it? 4. So that's on 2. So that's 900, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's $1,300 over 2 accounts. Volume weighted average price. There you go. We don't use any indicators really, apart from the moving average. I noticed Nick was phoning I keep my phone switched off, see, but it's on vibrate, and I was in this vibrating. I was looking around my desk thinking, what the bloody hell's vibrating? And then I noticed it. Fortunately, I made $400 out of the mistake, so I got a bit lucky there. I keep remembering to look right. That's why, because I used to have that one down there. And when an order goes through, you get those green and pink things, and they used to come down here. But I changed my screens around. They come on the main screen, which is above. See, I haven't got Windows activated, so the activation Windows watermark used to be down here. So I swapped my screens around. So I changed these because obviously when the trade closes, if anything is in here, any sort of, profits or what, it's I need to just, and it's only a case of right clicking and flat limit. It takes a second. I'm not sure whether close works, does it? I don't know. Let's try and extend the uptrend. This thing here. I did notice it came down to the bottom, but obviously we had that overshoot, didn't we? That works sometimes, doesn't it? Yeah, possibly. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure. That's right there. I think it's more just. Oh, hello. That's why I don't like stuck in areas like this. Something like that, isn't it? I'm still expecting a push up towards the tops. Just based on what I can see. But obviously, as that overshoot, it caused a bit of. Obviously, you can't always go up that strongly for that long. It obviously needed a correct, didn't it? And it sort of had a couple of legs, and now it's going sideways. We've pushed up, broken out the top. I don't think it'll come down much further before it pushes out again. It may do. But I think it'll come down just a tad and then push up higher still, but maybe a leg and a leg. Accountability King Gorilla setup took place. Let me read that again. Gorilla setup took place. Price made a box, 2 small legs down, second entry off the bottom. So here, did he go here? Accountability King. Second entry long off the bottom. Second entry long. This one here, that one there, you mean? Yeah, I'm trying to trade more like him in the fact that he just goes for bigger swings, doesn't he? He trades the same principles as Pat's. But obviously, thank you, Toad. I appreciate that, mate. I have considered having paying for the Gorilla guy and just having him on a separate screen. More, not to, because I'm confident that I know where the setups are. If I don't take a good setup, I know it wasn't a good setup. It's me trying to bend the rules. More for just to have his experience on how to swing them more, because he does well out of them. So I often, it's $99. It's a small price to pay, really, isn't it? If you swing it an extra couple of points, or you've got your money back. Obviously, I'd keep the screen to myself if he thought I was paying $99 and showing it to 70 people. I don't think he'd be too happy, but I do like his style. He's got bags of confidence. Share your channel on Twitter. I don't even know how to, mate, to be fair. I've never really used Twitter. I thought Twitter was more for, I don't know, famous people, isn't it? Well, I've never really used it, mate, to be honest with you. I'm not a YouTuber, per se. I don't do this to make money out of YouTube. It's more really just to make myself accountable. If I've got, at the moment, there's 73 people got the on me. If I do something stupid or revenge trade, like I've done outside, it just makes me look stupid. So it does make me think that I need to, be a little bit more careful. So that's why I did it. But on top of that, it's also got me to know, lots of people as well. Because, when I first started trading, coming up 2.5 years ago, I traded with a guy called Andrew Lockwood, who worked for big city banks in the London Stock Exchange during the 80s. And he went over to, he worked in Singapore for about 5 or 6 years, setting up their first proper computer systems back up, I think, in the early 2000s. And then he decided then to work for himself from home, and he's got a nice big house on the outskirts of London. And he told me, surround yourself by people you want to be like. So that was another part of streaming. So you get to know people. Not, I have chats with some guy, a couple of guys on the phones, which I've met through trading. And you help each other, you a little bit of moral support or a few tips. Sometimes when I'm not trading and I'm watching other traders, I can spot mistakes they're making. When you sat back and not trading, sometimes you can see a bigger picture. When you're in front of the screen, sometimes with emotions and that, you're that focused, you can miss things. But I know sometimes if I watch, I don't watch the Panda guy now. He seems to have a system all on his own. I don't seem to understand what he does really. He seems to sort of have a strategy of his own, but it doesn't seem to work very effectively. So, but I watch some of V Wilson's and I watch some of Sam's from Five Trader, and I watch mainly the other streamers. I've started watching some of the Moo guy, and sometimes you can spot mistakes they're making because you haven't got the pressures of trading. You can just sit back and relax, So, where did you find the gorilla guy? I spend half my life on YouTube looking at traders, learning things from traders, and I just searched. I nearly said that I had to mention Sam because last time I didn't mention you, did you? And you went on me. So yeah, I watch yours as well, mate. Sometimes I'll try to go on your stream because a lot of times you stream after me. But when I finish for the day, I used to be a chef, so I do all the cooking and I only work 3 hours a day. See, so I tend to go down then and then do all the cooking and the dinner and have the dinner and so I don't so much have time for yours, but I'll have a flick through your trades after. But oh, look at that. I thought that might do that at some point. See, it's done what it was supposed to do, yeah, go from the bottom to the top, and it ain't going to stop there, is it? It's going to come up here for sure. What have I missed? Lads, don't be scared to show your account balances, mate. You will get more views. There we go, mate. I'm only on Apexes at the moment, so there's my accounts at the moment. The 3 I'm doing. That one I passed. I did a trade. I took that one about 3 or 4 days ago. That one I did, I think it was 5 contracts, 3 trades. I passed that one. So these are the 2 I'm doing at the moment. Obviously, that one, I don't know why that's only showing that for some reason. Okay. I think I lost something on there at a point. I don't know. But that's the one I made the... in fact, let's switch on to there. 25. It looks more impressive. So 25's there. Where's 24? That one. Let's change it to 24. Or 25. There we go. That looks much better, doesn't it? Anyway, there. I only keep them out the way now because they're in the way, but there you go. The one's passed. I started that one about 4 days ago, but sometimes I'll trade in the evening. I'll 5 contract them and wait for a trade, and the others is just the same. But no, I just shove them out the way. That's all. I have them up here with me Flowbots thingy, because the more stuff I have on the screen, it just gets in the way a bit. So what have I missed? Patrick Welland, another YouTuber that trades futures. Patrick Welland, that rings a bell. Let me take. That guy said to me, surround yourself with people you want to be like. So I watch other traders, streamers, YouTubers, not to copy their strategies or anything, just out of interest to find out. But obviously, I much prefer to watch people who have the same. Just take a picture of that. Patrick Welland. Done. More just out of interest. But just understanding things about trading in general. Okay, so that I absolutely expect to come here, but it's probably just going to come back and retest the tops. Now, remember I mentioned about that trade. If you took that trade and you brought it back one stop, one extra tick, look what have happened. Quite a few of the trades, through lack of experience, usually when they make 2 legs up and I give an extra tick, have saved my bacon a few times. And that would have been a perfect example. One trade yesterday stopped me out by 1 tick. And Mac will often say it'll take you out by 1 tick because they know where your stops are and then it'll end up going in the same direction. So a lot of times I used to... some of you who've watched me from sort of early December when I started will often hear me say I'm just going to bring that down 1 tick. If you'd have done it there, you'd have survived there, see? And if you think you're going to get to the top, which it quite likely will, even if you went up to there, you've made 7.7 points just for risking another $12. And the reason I started doing that is because I heard Max say you need to put it at least 1 tick below your signal bar. Is that somebody? It was that else you said was a scam, or was that him? Oh no, it wasn't. It wasn't. I remember you mentioned someone sent me an email and wanted me to pay to join their Discord. That was it. You said watch him or something. No, I didn't in the end. I just let him down gently and ignored his email. So yeah, it's come back and retested the top of this. So now I fully expect it now to at least push up to. In fact, I haven't put down the market open, have I? No, I haven't. Sorry. Where was the open? It's about here, isn't it? I think it's about the same place. Yeah, it is. It's around about one of these. Sorry. Let's put that back on. Where is it? 230. Here we go. So that's about it, isn't it? Is that about right? Sorry, I'll put it back in a second. There we go. 230. Beautiful. It's all right. I usually put okay, there we go. It's that one, wasn't it? I think. Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. Templates. Load. Okay. Lock. It's all right. I don't think it makes a difference at the moment. Yeah, I thought it was. It's about the same line. The open is the same time as the official open. So, oh, interesting. It's broke out of there strongly and come back. So, interesting. I didn't think that would happen. I thought once it went up there was, why would you sell there? We've just got through all this shit. Look, everything's going to the top, isn't it? I'm surprised. Well, maybe actually because it's going sideways when we had a strong push up. Anyone bullish in there thought, sod it, let's get out now. Just in case. Interesting. Well, I think this is the first day for a long time it's done standard type of range, isn't it? Yeah, it has come down and literally bounced off there, isn't it? It's not ranged like this for quite a while, I don't think, is it? Quite a nice standard sort of, you know, within sort of 18, 20 points. But I think people like Mac and experienced traders on days like this, you understand why Mac says, you know, he likes trading. Because, I don't know, you may not have done this, you may have jumped in here. But, I don't know. You can see why he likes doing it, because every time it's broken out, every time, including that, because I thought, hold on, it's breaking out 5 or 6 times, and the one time I get in, it's going to stop me out. But what it did do is it carried on. So sometimes, if I take a trade, I need to believe it's okay. So I took the failure, but I took it 1 tick above the possible trap, just to, you know, guarantee that I wasn't going to get trapped to the downside. And it worked. It's just the fact that when it came down, I had this at more of an angle, and I thought, oh crap, and then after I got out the trade, I moved that down, and I thought actually it's working within there, and then it did what I expected it to do after this, was go out. But I just lost my confidence a bit. But it was a failure. We had this new low. Every time it's broken out, it's pushed back in, and there's no reason why it should do this. And we've obviously also bounced off yesterday's lows once, 2, 3 times and pushed up strongly. So I should have just had the confidence to stay in there. And if I would have done, as it pushed out of here and started going a bit sideways, I'd have lost my nerve and come out there. But 2, 4, 6, 8, I'd have got 6.5 to 7 points. So sometimes it is, well, or I think most times, unless you think it's a stupid trade. To me, that wasn't a stupid trade. I covered my arse that I wasn't going to get cut short, trapped to the short side by putting it a tick above there. So I covered my arse, and as well as getting into a failure. So I should have thought, hold on, it's a valid trade. Let's stay in it. It's done exactly whatever it's done every time it's broken out. Why should it, so... You live and learn, don't you? But fortunately, one of the accounts triggered, and the other one didn't. But fortunately, I got an extra $400 on the other one, which has given me 8 and 4, $1,200 split. So $600 per account. So a little bit over, but yeah. So. Okay trade, and I got me reward in the end by that. a little bit of luck. What time is it now? 2:30. I might leave it there, actually, to be honest with you. It's Friday. I'm not going to take any more trades now. I'm at $1,200 on the 2 counts, $600 per count. So last thing I want to do, and it's a little bit choppy, a little bit messy, so I'm going to knock it on the head for the day, actually. We're on Friday, so that's it now till Monday, guys. So I appreciate all your comments and all your support and everything you say. I always get good solid stuff. It's a good I've got a good good group of regular people here. You're welcome, mate, and we all get nice, we all support each other, and we all help each other. And I've had plenty of help off you guys, and loads of you jumped in when I didn't notice one of mine had triggered. I had the phone going, I had messages flashing up. So it's a nice community we got here now, and I enjoy doing it. Much better than trading by yourself, isn't it? So yeah, guys, I appreciate it all. Thanks for all your comments. So you guys have a great weekend. Don't forget that offer, that 90% is going on now till the 1st. So we got another about 10 days. So you don't need to worry about that till next week anyway. But anybody that has used my code in the past, I do appreciate it. The extra I get from there, as well as working weekend, enable me to trade, and it comfortably covers all my trading. So it's appreciated. So on that note, have a great weekend. If you're carrying on trading, good luck. And then we'll do it all again on Monday. So stay safe, guys. And I appreciate all your comments and that. And have a great weekend. And we will, Joe Blocks, you're welcome. We'll do it all again on Monday. So stay safe. Have a great weekend, and I'll speak to you all on Monday.